I sat in my parents' living room, the place that was supposed to be my childhood sanctuary, and suddenly it felt like the set of Law and Order, Family Betrayal Unit. My mother looked at me like I'd personally drop-kicked her faith in humanity. My father, Mr. Integrity himself, was so disappointed he couldn't even meet my eyes. My sister, usually the one who'd throw hands for me, was parked at the farthest edge of the couch like I had the plague. And then there was Amelia. Oh, Amelia. My fiancée. My very own Emmy-nominated drama queen, perched on Mom's favorite armchair like she was holding court. She was dabbing her bone-dry eyes with a tissue as if she'd been personally wronged by Shakespeare himself. I just don't understand, she wept, her voice trembling with the perfect mix of victimhood and melodrama. I found the messages on his laptop. Explicit messages to some woman named Catherine. And the pictures. He was laughing with her. How could he do this to us? Cue collective gasp from the peanut gallery, my family. Yeah, Amelia had orchestrated this little ambush herself. 2 days earlier she'd stormed into my space waving her phone like it was Exhibit A at a murder trial. Screenshots of texts allegedly from me to this Catherine woman. Except the messages read like bad fan fiction. I crave your touch level nonsense. And then there were 2 blurry photos of me at a restaurant with a brunette. My new client, by the way. A business lunch Amelia knew about. But she had them cropped so tightly it looked like I was auditioning for Cheaters. Special edition. I knew instantly it was fake. The texts, the photos, all garbage. But my family? Oh, they wanted to believe. They adored Amelia. She could have said I was running an underground fight club in the garage and they would have believed her. Now, my first instinct was to fight back. Deny everything. Point out the Photoshop job and the convenient camera angles. But then I looked at Amelia's face. No heartbreak there. No. Just this cold, smug little twinkle. Like a cat that just knocked your laptop off the counter on purpose. That's when it hit me. This wasn't heartbreak. This was a hit job. She wasn't crying because I cheated. She was celebrating because she thought she'd just buried me 6 feet under in the cemetery of my family's trust. So I did the unthinkable. I stayed quiet. Daniel, say something, my father grunted finally, shame dripping from his voice. I looked at him. I looked at Amelia, her fake tears glistening like dollar store glitter. I looked at my sister, silently begging her not to throw popcorn at me. There's nothing to say, I said, calm as a monk. Amelia's shown you what she found. I'm a systems analyst. I literally get paid to spot patterns, plug vulnerabilities, and call out shady anomalies before they blow up into disasters. Amelia's life? It had turned into one giant red flag parade. 6 weeks before her little Broadway audition in my parents' living room, I did the smartest thing I'd done in our entire relationship. I called in backup. Her name was Catherine Shaw. Yes, that Catherine. Sharp suit, sharper mind, carried herself like she billed by the minute, which, trust me, she did. The irony of Amelia making up a mistress named Catherine while I was secretly paying a real Catherine to dig through her lies? Chef's kiss. Find out what my fiancé is really up to, I told her over coffee. And spare me the sugarcoating. I already know I'm not going to like it. Catherine gave me this little nod, like a surgeon about to prep for open-heart surgery. Understood. I'll be in touch. Fast forward to that family intervention ambush. Everyone thought they were burying me alive in shame. My mother leaving teary voicemails, Danny, please just admit it and give Amelia whatever she needs. My dad? The silent treatment champion of the decade. My sister? She texted me one line, you've disgraced us. Honestly, it hurt. But I couldn't blame them. Amelia hadn't just dated me for 2 years, she'd auditioned for Daughter of the Year. She remembered every birthday. She weeded my mom's garden. She practically got canonized at Sunday dinners. So when she turned on the waterworks, my family followed like it was gospel. I couldn't hate them for it. I just had to show them what the gospel really said. Meanwhile, Amelia was living like a reality TV star. She moved into the guest room, in my house by the way, and acted like she was a war widow bravely enduring the hardship of living down the hall from her cheating monster fiancé. Every day she'd dial up my mom and sister to spin her sob story louder. And the spending? Oh, the spending. Bags from boutiques, spa days, retail therapy, to cope with the trauma I'd inflicted. My debit card was practically begging for mercy. Then came the letter. Thick envelope, expensive stationery, and a lawyer's name that practically screamed bloodsucker. Amelia had hired one of those notorious divorce attorneys, the kind who advertises on late-night TV with a catchphrase like, "I'll make him pay." The letter demanded I vacate my own house immediately because my very existence was causing her severe emotional distress. It also listed her requests, which was adorable. The house, the car, a lifetime's worth of alimony. All justified by, you guessed it, my supposed infidelity and emotional abuse. Her strategy was simple. Make me the bad guy, use my family's emotional weight against me and bleed me dry. That was Amelia's master plan. Cute, right? While she was busy sketching out her victory parade float, I was quietly assembling my arsenal. And let me tell you, Catherine, my private investigator, not Amelia's imaginary mistress, was worth every cent. Her reports landed in my secure email every evening like little Christmas presents, except instead of socks and ties, I got infidelity, fraud, and money laundering wrapped in PDFs. The picture they painted? Amelia wasn't just a manipulative liar, she was basically auditioning for a role on Criminal Minds. She wasn't just spending my money, oh no, that would have been too basic. She was moving it. Enter Alex, her partner in slime. The guy thought he was some financial wizard, but he left a digital trail so sloppy it looked like a toddler had been finger painting in binary. Catherine's forensics team followed it with glee. Domestic accounts, then offshore. Boom. We were talking six figures. And here I was, still stressing about whether I could justify ordering extra guac at Chipotle. Then came the photos. Dozens of them. Amelia and Alex at candlelit dinners, Amelia and Alex checking into boutique hotels, Amelia and Alex kissing in his car like teenagers who just discovered hormones. Catherine's surveillance team didn't miss a beat. Honestly, at this point, I was considering sending them a fruit basket. But the real kicker? Catherine's team cracked Amelia's burner phone's cloud backup. That's right. Amelia, the self-proclaimed evil genius, didn't even secure it. Rookie mistake. Inside. The unedited photos from my so-called cheating lunch. And the app she used to fabricate text messages, with my name in a draft conversation with Catherine. As if that weren't enough, they also found the crown jewel, Amelia's private chat with Alex. Amelia, the stage is set. I'm showing the family the evidence tomorrow. They'll eat it up. Daniel won't know what hit him. Alex, perfect. Once he's isolated, he'll be desperate to settle. We can drain him completely. You play the victim, I'll handle the money. We'll be in the Cayman Islands by Christmas. Charming, right? The woman wasn't just cheating, she was basically trying to speedrun how to commit every financial crime at once. So now I had everything, the motive, the means, the evidence. All that was left? The final act. I picked up the phone and called my mother. Mom, I said using my best contrite sinner voice. I want to talk. To apologize. I've been a fool. I want to make things right, with Amelia and with the family. There was a pause. Then my mother burst into tears. Oh, Daniel. I knew you'd see sense. I knew it. Yeah, I said, also I want to do it properly. A family dinner. Sunday night at your house. I'll even invite Catherine, you know, the alleged homewrecker, so I can apologize to her in front of everyone. End things cleanly. Daniel, that's wonderful, she sobbed. I could practically hear her running to call Amelia the second we hung up. And oh boy, Amelia must have been thrilled. In her mind, she'd won. She thought I was broken, groveling, ready to confess to crimes I didn't commit. She thought I was walking into her little courtroom drama as the guilty man, begging her for forgiveness. But what she didn't know was that she'd just RSVP'd to her own execution. Update 2. Sunday night. The atmosphere at my parents' house was tense, to put it mildly. The kind of tension you feel when you're waiting for a car crash you know is coming but you can't look away. When I walked in, the looks I got from my family were priceless, equal parts pity and disgust. Like I was a wet dog that had rolled in something unmentionable but was still technically theirs. And then there was Amelia. Sitting on the couch, all serene and gracious, like some queen preparing to grant a pardon to a grilling subject. She had dressed for the occasion like she was attending a Hallmark movie audition. A soft cream-colored dress, all flowing and innocent, like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. Subtle Amelia. Real subtle. We sat down for dinner and honestly the small talk was torture. My father droned about sports like he was reading headlines off ESPN, my mother kept buzzing around asking if everyone had enough to eat, as if carbs were going to solve this, and Amelia? She just stared at me with this smug little Mona Lisa smile. She thought this was her coronation night. My public humiliation. Halfway through the main course I cleared my throat. The effect was immediate, like I'd hit the mute button on the entire room. I know why we're all here, I began, voice steady. I know what you all think of me. And I know I have a lot to answer for. I locked eyes with Amelia. Her smile grew wider, like a cat watching the canary walk into the cage. You're right to be angry, I continued, scanning my family's faces. I have been hiding something. I have been seeing another woman. And I'm deeply sorry for the pain it's caused. Cue Waterworks. My mother sniffled like she was auditioning for a tissue commercial. My father just shook his head like he was ashamed to share DNA with me. Amelia? She was glowing. She thought this was it, the moment I cracked. In fact, I said, leaning in, I asked her to come here tonight. I thought it was important for everyone to finally meet her. To put a face to the name. Right on cue, the doorbell rang. I could practically hear Amelia's internal monologue. Oh my God, he's actually stupid enough to bring her here. Her little victory smile evaporated into wide-eyed shock. That was new. I almost wished I had popcorn. Excuse me, I said smoothly, rising from my chair. I walked to the door and opened it. And there stood Catherine Shaw, sharp business suit, slim leather briefcase, the picture of professional devastation. I led her in, and the room collectively forgot how to close their mouths. My family sat frozen. Amelia looked like she just spotted the Grim Reaper wearing Louboutins. Mom, Dad, Sarah, I announced with all the drama of a Broadway lead. This is the woman Amelia has been telling you about. The woman I've been meeting with in secret for the past 6 weeks. Amelia pounced, her voice breaking with fake fury. How dare you, she shrieked. How dare you bring that homewrecker into this house, in front of your family? I swear if she'd clutched her pearls any harder they would have disintegrated. But the show was over. Catherine stepped forward, calm as a glacier, and set her briefcase on the dining table with a satisfying click. Ma'am, she said evenly, looking Amelia dead in the eye, I think there's been a misunderstanding. My name is Catherine Shaw. I'm a licensed private investigator. Boom. The silence was so thick you could have cut it with Amelia's steak knife. My family's brains looked like they were buffering. Amelia went from smug to ghostly in about 3 seconds flat. Catherine continued, her voice precise, like a surgeon making the first incision. And your fiancé Daniel is my client. If my mother's jaw had dropped any lower, she would have needed surgery. Catherine didn't waste a beat. Daniel hired me 6 weeks ago because he suspected his fiancé was being dishonest. My job was to find the truth. And I did. She pulled out the first file, sliding it across the table with the flair of a magician revealing her final trick. Let's start with the evidence of Daniel's infidelity. Out came the enlarged, uncropped photos of my so-called business lunch. These photos were taken by Amelia's accomplice, a man named Alex Breener, and deliberately edited to create a false impression. She followed with another neat packet. And this is a forensic report, an analysis of the text messages from Catherine. They were created using a simple, commercially available app found in the unsecured cloud backup of Amelia's secondary phone. They are, to use a legal term, Catherine said, tapping the stack of photos like she was giving a TED Talk, a complete fabrication. My mother gasped, clutching her pearls like she was auditioning for a soap opera. My father just stared at the papers, his disappointment slowly curdling into rage. If smoke had started pouring out of his ears, I wouldn't have been surprised. But why would she do this? My sister whispered wide-eyed. That, Catherine said smoothly, pulling out a second, much thicker file with the kind of theatrical timing I could only respect, is the interesting part. This wasn't just a breakup. It was a heist. And then, for the next 10 minutes, Catherine dismantled Amelia's little empire of lies with surgical precision. The affair with Alex. The offshore account. The embezzlement of over $200,000. Every detail, every bank statement, every grainy hotel photo slapped down on the table like she was playing the world's worst game of Uno. Finally, she pulled out the piece de resistance. Transcripts of Amelia and Alex's little text strategy sessions. Catherine read them aloud, her voice cool and cutting. Once he's isolated, he'll be desperate to settle. We can drain him completely. Each word landed like a hammer. Amelia visibly shrank with every syllable, going from queen of the intervention to scared extra in a horror movie in record time. Catherine kept going. You play the victim, I'll handle the money. We'll be in the Cayman Islands by Christmas. My mother made a strangled sound somewhere between a sob and a gasp. My father's knuckles turned white around his glass. And Amelia? She finally snapped. She let out a guttural sob that sounded less heartbroken fiancé and more feral raccoon, then lunged for the evidence like she was about to eat it. Unfortunately for her, my dad, who I thought hadn't sprinted since the Reagan administration, snatched her wrist midair. His voice when he spoke was glacial. That's destruction of evidence. And a confession. Amelia froze, her hand still dangling over the files like a kid caught with a stolen cookie. My dad turned to me and for the first time in weeks he actually looked me in the eye. His voice cracked. "Daniel, I am so sorry." "I know, Dad," I said quietly. "Took you long enough." My sister was already fumbling with her phone, but my dad plucked it from her hands like a pro. He raised it to his ear, his voice booming with all the authority of his prosecutor days. "This is Mark Hayes. I'm at 125 Oak Street. I am witnessing an admission to multiple felonies, and the suspect is actively attempting to destroy evidence. We require immediate assistance." Mic drop. The rest of the night was a blur. 2 officers showed up, Catherine handed them a neat summary of everything, and Amelia was escorted out in cuffs, sobbing and pleading like she was auditioning for Les Miserables. It wasn't triumphant. It was justice. Quiet, grim, overdue justice. Months later the legal system had its way. Amelia, faced with a mountain of evidence taller than Everest, took a plea deal. Convicted of grand larceny. 3 years in prison. Alex? Arrested too. My lawyers say we'll recover every penny. And my family? Slowly we're healing. They're ashamed of how easily they bought her performance, but I get it. She didn't just date me, she infiltrated. She became the daughter my mother never had, the best friend my sister didn't ask for. It was a long con and they were her perfect marks. My revenge wasn't just about taking her down. It was about reclaiming everything she tried to poison. My life. My family. My name. She tried to use a lie to destroy my reputation. So I used the truth to destroy her freedom. She tried to steal my money. I used that money to hire the woman who put her behind bars. She tried to turn my family against me. And in the end, they got front row seats to her downfall. She wanted to play the victim. Well, congratulations. Now she's got 3 years in a cell to rehearse the role. She thought she was writing my tragedy. She had no idea she was just the villain in my story of survival. And my story? It has a much better ending. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.